Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 430. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic is, are you really willing to pay the price? Are you really willing to pay the price? And when I talk about pay the price, I'm talking about paying the price to be a successful entrepreneur. You see, most people want it, but they don't want to pay for it, okay? Are you willing to pay the price to become a great entrepreneur? And we're going to discuss several things. First and foremost, we're going to discuss what to expect on this journey. And also, I'm going to give you several tips and actionable steps that will help you reach your goal of becoming a successful entrepreneur. Now, before we get to today's episode, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and resource links, such as the link to my latest book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. 2 platforms I've created to help build an economic power base in the Black community, BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com, which are both being updated right now. We're changing the platforms. But if you go to the site, you can put in your name and email address, and we'll alert you when we are back up. And last but not least, BEB Academy, which is an online learning portal that has all types of resources such as masterclasses, courses, downloads, and the lot to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. So go to bebacademy.com, get your 3 days free access. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. I also wanted to give you guys an update on the podcast. Over the last several months, I've had multiple people and BEB family members asking me if I can do more than 1 episode a week. Now, unfortunately, due to my time constraints and the time it takes to create the podcast, I'm not able to do that. But what I am going to create is a little mini podcast called Jay's Gems. Now, you don't have to do anything different to listen to the podcast. Just make sure that you are subscribed to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. And what Jay's Gems is, it's going to be a short 3 to 5 minute insight to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. So if you can actually look into my cell phone right now under my notes, I have BEB show topics, right? And I probably have about 120 of them right now that I could use to create a show. But some of the topics don't warrant 45 minutes to an hour to speak about. So what Jay's Gems are, they're going to be BEB show topics that I'm going to break down into 3 to 5 minutes. Now, I'm going to do at least 1 a week. And if it hits me, I may do even more. But just make sure you're subscribed to blackentrepreneurBlueprint.com on any platform. And once Jay's Gems come out, you'll be alerted to that. So when Jay's Gems drop, what's going to happen? You'll look on your Apple Music or whatever. Instead of saying Black Entrepreneur Blueprint episode 430, which is this episode, it'll say Jay's Gems episode 1 and whatever that show topic is about. And they'll be interspersed throughout all of Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. So once again, you don't have to go anywhere else to get Jay's Gems. Just make sure you're subscribed. And really all it is, it's an additional short episode at least once a week that's going to be under Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. So keep an eye out for Jay's Gems, and you should have the first one drop probably before this episode drops. So you might hear about it or listen to it before you even listen to this episode. But let's get ready for today's show content. We're talking about, are you really willing to pay the price? And once again, guys, many entrepreneurs never even get started, let alone become successful. And the pitfalls and the roadblocks that we have in front of us as entrepreneurs, they're real, and we have to learn how to navigate them. And so what I'm going to talk about today is how to, or what you have to look for in terms of the roadblocks and the stumbling blocks and how to navigate them. And what we want to talk about first, guys, is are you willing to pay the price to become a great or a successful entrepreneur? So everything that we do or try to do has a price attached to it. And the question is, are you willing? Now, what happens most times is people want it, but they're not willing to pay for it. I can't tell you how many times that I've mentored people for free. And once again, hey, all right, before we meet next time, I need you to do A, B, and C. And I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of the times they haven't even done the work. And so we want it, but are we willing to pay the price for it? That's just the dream if you're not doing any action behind it. And that's what the problem for a lot of prospective entrepreneurs and unsuccessful entrepreneurs are going through right now. You're not willing to pay the price. Something else obviously is more important. So when you come home from work, is watching TV more important? Okay, if you're a full-time employee and you're trying to start your business, if you're a full-time entrepreneur, are you doing the work that moves the needle? Are you doing busy work and wasting your time? Or are you doing the work that's actually going to move the needle, that's going to generate revenues and help you become profitable? Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price to not be able to go out to dinner as many times a month because you got to reinvest your money back into your business? Are you willing to pay the price? And so what we're going to talk about first is what are some of the prices you're going to have to pay? Some of the roadblocks and things that are going to get in your way that you have to overcome in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur. Then I'm going to give you some solutions. Okay. Price number one that many entrepreneurs pay is being broke. All right. Now, broke is a state of mind. It's a temporary situation, meaning you don't have money right now. I can't tell you how many nights when I started out, and even recently, if I got money tied up or whatever, where I'm like, damn, I need to have more money accessible to me. Now, I have money out there, but sometimes the money's out in projects. It may be out in new products that I'm buying or building. So, for example, with my hot sauce, I spend a lot of money on inventory, on packaging, on things of that nature. And so sometimes you don't have the cash flow that you need. So being broke or having less money is one of the prices you probably will have to pay as an entrepreneur. Another one, guys, is fear of failure. Fear can petrify people. Fear can make people stand still when they know they need to do something else. Fear of failure. Because we're taught from an early age that failure is bad. So when we ride a bike, we fall off the bike, right? But guess what? It's natural for your parents to say, hey, all right, we're expecting that. Now get your butt back on that bike and start pedaling again. So when it comes to things that aren't that important, failure is okay. But as an entrepreneur, you need to recognize and understand you're probably going to go through a lot of failure in your entrepreneurial journey. And failure never really is final until you quit. So you can have setbacks. But when you quit, then that's when it makes failure final. Okay, because that means you gave up and it's done. All the lessons you learn are for naught because of that fear of failure. Now you quit and that failure has come to pass. So fear of failure. So don't be afraid to fail in entrepreneurship because that's par for the course. It's part of the process. Okay. So it's counterintuitive because once again, we're not taught to fail in anything else, but it's part of the process as an entrepreneur. So recognize and understand that. The next, number 3, ridicule. People will ridicule you. I know when I left corporate America, and this was in the 90s, mid 90s, and I had a very well-paying job, people were like, yo, this dude is a nut. What is he doing? You see, and I always talk about, though, being an entrepreneur back then, 20, 25 years ago, isn't as popular as it is now. Nowadays, everybody is a founder. Everybody has a business. But when I jumped out from corporate America, it wasn't like that. So ridicule. I had family members ridicule me. close family members, friends. What are you doing? You're not going to be successful. How do you think, or why do you think you're going to be successful when it's so hard? So ridicule, be prepared for that. Number 4, opposition. Now that opposition can come from anywhere. It can come from in-house. You could be sleeping next to your opposition. All right. It could be your spouse or your partner. I just talked about that on the other show, last week's show. It could be your spouse or your partner or friends or people that are hating on you. And many times the opposition comes from ignorance, meaning not knowing. So people would much rather, the average person, I call them civilians, which would much rather have somebody else pay them for their services. Entrepreneurs think differently. We're going to create our own money. So the opposition can come from several different fronts. It could come from the hater, or it can come from people not being all, engrossed with entrepreneurship. They may not believe in entrepreneurship. Okay. Number 5 is doubt. And that's with most entrepreneurs, myself included. If you don't have any doubt, that means that something's wrong with you. All right. So whenever you're starting something new, there's going to be a little bit of doubt in there. But the whole thing is being able to move forward with that doubt and then eventually being able to erase that doubt. So doubt is something that a price you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to understand that you're going to doubt yourself at certain times. OK. Number, 6, 2, 4, 5. Number 6, loneliness. Being an entrepreneur is lonely, especially if you're a solopreneur and you work at home, right? When you work in corporate America, I know the pandemic has, really changed things up, but many times you're working with people around you. So you have that camaraderie and you're able to have conversations and all of that good stuff. If you're a solopreneur and you happen to work at home by yourself, it can be very lonely. You don't have that camaraderie. You don't have that pat on the back. You don't have that reassurance that what you're doing is good or right. So you have to understand you're going to have to fight that loneliness. So many times, I work out of the house and I also have an office, but I use a WeWork office, and I may go in the office 3 times a week, 4 times a week. It just depends on what's going on. But it gives you that camaraderie and the ability to communicate with other people so you're not as lonely. And most times in WeWork, you're going to find other entrepreneurs. So that's something of like a support group that you can hang your hat on. You're not out here by yourself trying to accomplish your goals and your dreams. There are other people exactly just like you trying to do the same thing. And the last one is lack of confidence. And that kind of comes in with doubt. And so I don't care how long you've been an entrepreneur, there can be certain instances where you don't have confidence. It could be in a new product, a new business, or whatever. So if you look at boxers, right, they train hard, 8-week, 10-week training camps, they get in the ring. And at that point in time, they may have a lack of confidence. They may look across the ring and see that opponent looks fierce and like, damn, I hope I did enough to make sure I can get out of this thing with a dub. So lack of confidence. So there are many different things, guys, or many prices that you're going to have to pay. And the ultimate question is, are you willing to pay the price? So starting a business is not easy, guys. It's like climbing up a mountain. There are going to be boulders running down that mountain. You're going to have to dodge those boulders. You may have to, run to the right one time, run to the left, duck under, go over, whatever. It's going to be a hard price to pay. That's why if it was so easy, everybody would do it. So you have to be built a certain way, and you have to understand and recognize what you're going to come up against. And so, as one of my good friends always says, knowing is half the battle. So if you know what you're going to come up against, it just gives you a better time or more time to plan. Okay, knowing is half the battle. You know that there are going to be issues, there are going to be potholes, there are going to be roadblocks. There's going to be all types of things that are trying to stop you from getting to the top of that mountain. And your job as an entrepreneur is solving problems, figuring out how I'm going to get around this, over this, under that, through that, or whatever to get to your goal or your objective. And what we want to talk about now is some of the solutions or actionable steps that you can take to make sure that you're successful as an entrepreneur. And what we're talking about today, guys, are you really willing to pay the price? People say they want to be a successful entrepreneur, but they're not going to put the work in behind it to make it come true. And before I actually get to the solutions, I just want to tell you a story about not really a friend of a friend, person that I've known for a long time, has tremendous skills in the auto business, could repair any type of car, anything you wanted. Right now, I know cars now is different because they're all computerized and all of that stuff. But the mentality that he has, he would be able to figure that out. And so, people would help him. We'd send him people, to get their cars fixed. We even tried to buy him a set of tools, professional tools, wanted him to start his own thing. And I'm telling you, he wanted it more than he put action behind. He wasn't willing to pay the price to be successful. You see, the easiest thing that you can do, and I tell my kids this all the time, is quit, right? It takes absolutely no effort whatsoever to quit. All you have to do is make a decision in your mind, and guess what? Then you don't do anything. You know what, man? I quit, man. I'm not even going to try to be an entrepreneur anymore. How much energy did that take? None. It was a thought. You stated that thought, and now you don't have to do anything to act on that thought because you quit. Quitting takes absolutely no energy, and it's easy to do, especially when things get hard. So what you have to understand is, guys, that you really have to want it, and you're really going to have to be willing to pay the price. Now, as I mentioned on the show the other week about if your spouse or partner doesn't support your entrepreneurial dreams, there are conversations that you're going to need to have with your spouse or partner, because you may go without income or revenue for years. Or are your spouse and partner willing to put up with that? So there are critical conversations that you're going to need to have. But the question is, number one, first and foremost, are you, Y-O-U, are you willing to pay the price? Now, other people may have to pay a little bit of a price too if you're connected with them. Might be your kids for a minute, might be your wife, husband, spouse, partner, whatever. That's why you need to communicate your dreams, goals, and aspirations to your spouse or partner or anybody else that can be affected by you following your dream to be a successful entrepreneur. So let's talk about some of the solutions. And what we're talking about today, guys, is are you really willing to pay the price? And it means pay the price to be a successful entrepreneur. Solution number one. Well, here's some tips for you. Identify your goals for your business. So obviously we're all in business to make money. So that's a foregone conclusion. But are you looking to build passive income? Are you looking to build monthly recurring revenue? Are you looking to build up your business and sell? So what are the goals for your business? Okay, that's number one. Number two, identify your purpose for pursuing this goal. Identify your purpose for pursuing this goal. And really, that's your why. What is your why? Okay. Number three, identify what achieving this goal means for you and your loved ones. So you always want to attach an outcome or desired outcome for your goals. And you want to convey this. Hey, look, I know it's tough right now. Give me 24 months, 12 months, whatever it is, to really put into this business, to really sacrifice and pay the price to make this business work. Okay, now, once it becomes successful, that's going to mean that we're going to be able to move to a better school system for our kids. We'll be able to get a new house. We'll be able to take more vacations, spend time, with our family. We'll be able to travel more. We'll be able to save money for college for our kids. So you need to identify what achieving that goal means for you and your loved ones. People want to know what's in it for them. We know what's in it for you, but they need to know what's in it for them. The more they know what's in it for them, the more they'll support you. And you're definitely going to need support, especially if you're married or have a partner or a spouse or whatever. You're going to need that support. That's fundamental. It's crucial to your success. Number four, immerse yourself in a positive surrounding to inspire and cultivate your growth. Immerse yourself in positive surroundings to inspire and cultivate your growth. Okay, so your surroundings, it could be your family, friends, your network or whatever. They will always affect your success, either positively or negatively. So you want to put yourself in surroundings to inspire and cultivate your growth. So I talked about WeWork, right? So my WeWork office is in Philly, but if I'm in DC, I can go to another WeWork office in DC. Just let them know I'm coming. But what it does, it allows me to surround myself with like-minded people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. So when I see other people grinding like that, it could be a day that I'm super tired and not focused, and I see other people in there getting it. Then what does that do? That inspires me to help me go get it. It also help you cultivate your growth. So it's funny, I started going into the office a lot more just recently because I just wanted to be around other people. So I have a nice big office at my house, which is cool, which I'm recording this in right now. I actually have 2 offices in my home, but sometimes I like being around that energy. Okay. So number 4, immerse yourself in a positive surrounding to inspire and cultivate your growth. Number 5, find a mentor. Find a mentor. Now, a mentor is going to help and give you direction and advice. Find somebody that has done it before, and you can have more than one mentor. So if you're looking to build an insurance agency, find a mentor that has built a successful insurance agency. You don't want to find somebody that has nothing else in common with what you're trying to do. I mean, you can, but if you're trying to do a specific thing, find somebody that's done that specific thing at a high level and a successful level. Not that you can't learn from other mentors. They can teach you all types of things. But if you want a specific outcome, try to find somebody that has created that same specific outcome to be your mentor. Number 6, study other successful entrepreneurs. Study other successful entrepreneurs, and they can be in your field or outside your field. What have they done? Why have they done it? And how have they done it? So many times you can find great ideas for your business or your vertical by looking at what somebody else has done in their vertical. So for example, my mortgage business. So there was a point in time where I took a model of a law firm and created my mortgage business, my second mortgage business, like a law firm. So a law firm will have associates and they'll have people that intake the calls. So what was happening during this time, the mortgage business was going crazy. You had a lot of LOs, loan officers jumping from company to company, trying to get the highest commission split. And a lot of times you would lose good loan officers if somebody else paid them, even though you trained them from nothing, making $0. You trained them. Somebody else says, okay, you know what? I'm going to pay you 5% more commission after they didn't invest anything in their upbringing and training and their success. And they would jump ship. But I get it. You got to do what you feel is best for you. So what we tried to do was to try to reduce the impact of losing loan officers by taking our business, our mortgage business, and creating it like a law practice. So as opposed to having quote unquote loan officers, we had intake specialists. So we would drive calls via, direct mail, email, online advertising, radio. We would drive calls into our call center. That call center would take some basic information, then transfer that call to an intake person. So they're not a quote unquote a loan officer per se. So the intake person would take down the application, get all the information. And what they would do is they would actually pass that off into another group that basically moved the processors from point A to point B. So now we weren't beholden to having 20 loan officers and also not making or giving out that commission that we were paying the loan officers. So it was actually less expensive for us to create this business model like a law firm versus hiring all these loan officers. And so once again, we looked outside our industry to take something that we thought would be profitable for our industry. So study other successful entrepreneurs in your field, outside of your field. Look at what they've done, why, and how. So that's something we specifically did. Number 7, never let anyone impose their limitations on you. Guys, you always have to be the master of your own destiny. Never let anyone impose their limitations on you, because what you're going to find out, there's a ton of limited people out there. They never think that they can do something. And so don't let that shape you. Everybody is an individual, just like everybody has a different fingerprint. Okay. Everybody's got a different credit profile. We may have similarities, but everybody is different. Your internal makeup is different than mine. Your penchant to absorb pain may be different from mine. So once again, never let anyone impose their limitations on you. And a lot of times people that try to do this consciously or unconsciously are doing it because they don't have the guts to go out and try to do what they want to do in life. They feel relegated to accepting what's given to them as opposed to going out and taking it. Okay. So never let anyone impose their limitations on you. And once again, it could be subconscious. Yeah, man. Why you think you're going to be able to start this mortgage business? Man, you sure you can do that? Oh, man, if I were you, I'd stay at my job. You know, that's more solid. You'll hear things like that, conversations like that. And I always tell my kids, hey, remember the source. That's something my mom always drilled in me, and I drilled in my girls. Remember the source of information. Who's giving it to you? Why are they giving it to you? What's their background and what's their expertise in giving you the information? What's the angle? You got to remember there's always an angle. And I'm not talking about a malicious angle per se, but the information you receive, you got to understand where it's coming from, what that person's position is, what their intent of giving you the information is. So is the intent to help you? Is it to hurt you? Or is the intent that they're just saying whatever's on their mind? So always remember the source. And number 8, control your inner conversation you have with yourself. Control your inner conversation that you have with yourself. Guys, words have life. Thoughts can actually become actions. So I call it wrestling in the dark. So when you're laying down in the morning by yourself, it's dark outside or whatever, and you start to have those thoughts, those inner conversations. Make sure those conversations are positive, affirming conversations, not negative conversations. Remember, you have to ward off all of the other negatives we have to deal with as entrepreneurs. So those conversations that you need to have with yourself have to be of the positive nature. I know I can. I have everything that it takes to be successful. I know I can do this. So you have to be your own number one cheerleader. You can't wait for your spouse or partner or friends or family members or whatever to be your cheerleader. You have to be your number one cheerleader. It's just like people who put affirmations on their mirror in the morning. You know, so when they're shaving or getting ready, they have all these sticky notes on there with affirmations. Control your inner conversation with yourself. Now, every morning I have an inner conversation with myself, and I have to remember sometimes when it's not going well that I have to speak positive thoughts. Okay, speak life, not death. And remember, you're the only one that can have that conversation. You're your biggest cheerleader. Don't worry about what somebody else is saying about you. Don't worry about if your spouse or partner doesn't understand what you're trying to accomplish. Stay focused, stay the course, and have those positive inner conversations with yourself. And I'm telling you guys, you may think it sounds simple or silly, but it's the truth. You know when you have those conversations, you're thinking out loud. So you have to reinforce what you're trying to do through those inner conversations. Now, before we close it on out, guys, let me just share my social media contact information and my resource links. To keep it simple today, just go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. All my online courses are there. Any type of resources you need. If you want to scale your business, hit the Learn tab. Click the Learn tab and get all the resources on scaling your business, resources on e-commerce, resources on strategy and mindset, resources on everything that you need to grow your business. So all my online courses and everything are on the site. Go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. If you're lazy and don't want to type in all of that, go to BEB Connect, like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, BEB Connect, and it's going to take you right to the website. Now, if you want to connect with me, anything long, hit me on my email, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Twitter, jjones001, JAYJONES Instagram, I got 2 IG accounts. The first one is J Jones for real. JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. Second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. YouTube, you can hit me on YouTube. Just type in YouTube, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Hit that like and subscribe button. I have additional content on YouTube that is not on the show. Also, Clubhouse at I am J Jones, and LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Just type in J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Now, once again, guys, everything I just told you is on the website. We spent a lot of time and a lot of resources to rebuild this website. We want BlackEntrepreneurBlueprint.com to be the resource for Black entrepreneurs worldwide. So go to the website. It'll have all types of resources, masterclasses, courses, trainings, downloads, everything you need to help elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Now, I say this each and every week, guys, but I mean it. Man, we get more and more downloads because of you, the BEB family. I appreciate you guys. Man, please continue to spread the word about the podcast. The new updated website, BlackEntrepreneurBlueprint.com. The whole BEB ecosystem with the online courses, books, resources, and trainings to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Remember, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.